Live and hello. Hello. There we go. Are we live and direct? You there? Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in. What's going on? What's going on? President Trump, you know, President Trump, he doesn't have any authority over Disney or any of these other companies. He doesn't have authority over any of them. But they're coming out saying that President Trump is doing this. President Trump is taking away our free speech. He's the one doing this. He's being authoritarian. And he's really not. If you really look at it, President Trump is not. Let me bring something to everybody's attention that a lot of people seem to have forgotten about. When President Trump was in office the first time, or, when he was in office the first time and when he left office the first time, what did they do? They were actually firing people for telling the truth. They were actually banning people on social media for telling the truth. Y'all remember that? It was happening constantly. I remember this guy, and I can't remember his name. He was a fire chief, and I think it was in Georgia, if I'm not mistaken. It was a black guy too. He was in Georgia. And he was he was not the police chief, but he was the fire chief. He was the fire chief and had been on the fire department. He served on the fire department for years. Now, I don't remember all the details, and I wish I would remember his name right now. But he wrote this book. And in the book, he talked about marriage being between a man and a woman. He talked about his Christian faith. That's all he did. He didn't bash anyone living an alternate lifestyle. He didn't, tell people not to live an alternate lifestyle. He didn't do any of that. He just wrote in his book about his Christian faith. Well, the alternate people found out about the book and what he had in the book. They not only did they try to cancel his book from being released, and they said that he should not be able to release the book because he was the fire chief. They also went as far as getting him fired. I don't know if y'all remember that story. I'll never forget it. I'm like, this is just completely wrong. It's not like he was out there bashing anybody. He was just expressing his Christian beliefs in his own book, right? In this country, we're supposed to be able to write books, which brings me to Jimmy Kimmel. And then you got Colbert. Remember him? Colbert. So now the latest one is Jimmy Kimmel. Yesterday, we all got wind that Jimmy Kimmel is no longer going to have his show. He's going to have to come over here and join the digital world with the rest of us, right? That's how it's going to have to work if he wants to continue doing it. I suspect that he might not do that because, when you are a particular liberal like that, you have this thing that you're above everybody. And that doing what I'm doing is beneath him, right? There's a lot of that happening. So it's kind of like beneath him to do what I'm doing. And they're blaming President Trump for him getting canceled. President Trump didn't force him to open his pie hole. President Trump didn't force him to say anything about Charlie Kirk. President Trump didn't force Disney to let him go. None of that took place. Zero took place of that. Jimmy Kimmel brought it onto himself. Now, there's this thing called consequences. Have y'all heard of that before? It's called consequences. And of course, the left don't want to deal with consequences. They just want people to listen to what they have to say, believe everything they have to say, and don't even question what they have to say. This is the left. And then when they find out, like I was mentioning about the police chief that lost his job and they canceled him because he only expressed his Christian beliefs, that he wasn't the only one. Other people, and I've mentioned this before, and you all know aware of this, other people before, when they would go to work wherever the job is for many, many, many years, co-workers, colleagues, what have you. And then they found out that you supported President Trump, people were getting fired. They were saying, look, we're getting complaints, and I just don't think that you're a good fit for us any longer. You've done really, really good work in the past. And it's not that you don't get along with everybody, because you do get along with everybody. We just found out that you're a Trump supporter, and we're going to have to let you go. It's nothing personal, and we're a right to work state, and you can't do anything about it. So we have to let you go because people don't feel comfortable with you here, knowing that you voted for President Trump. So they did this multiple times to people, not doing anything wrong on the job, not being mean to people on the job. Everybody loved the person on the job, but as soon as they found out that you are a Trump supporter, then they had to let you go. That happened a lot of times. In this case, you got Jimmy Kimmel and a whole bunch of other people saying hateful stuff, just demonic stuff. Out there, Charlie Kirk, he what? And then they're like celebrating, dancing. You might as well go ahead and have a party. Throw confetti. That's the way they're acting. I don't think that it would be justified, or I don't think that it would be right to have children go to a school where the teacher is glorifying and happy what happened to Charlie Kirk and actually calling for more of it to happen, like what happened to Charlie Kirk. I don't think that's right. Or like I mentioned yesterday, if there's a doctor, now I'm not a doctor, I'm just saying, okay, just to be clear, I'm not a doctor, not trying to be one. And apparently there have been some doctors that have expressed their happiness about Charlie Kirk. Allegedly. You got to say all that, right? Can you imagine, and I mentioned this yesterday, can you imagine that you go into the doctor's office and you have to get surgery, and then you find out that the doctor has been posting all this stuff that they're happy about what happened to Charlie Kirk, and should happen to all of his followers, and all those that follow President Trump should happen to them too, right? Can you imagine that? And then you got to go in surgery and they find out that you are a MAGA Republican and you're got to go into surgery with this same doctor. Do you not think that you would be freaking out? I would be. I'm like, hold up, wait a minute. Now I need to go to a different doctor. Now, it's one thing if the doctor had this thought and opinion about this stuff, but once you go and put it out there publicly, and this is the way you think, and now I would be highly concerned just going to any doctor. I'm just saying, I would be highly concerned. I think, me personally, and I've been doing this actually for the last few years, ever since I was in California. When I went to the doctor's office, I would ask the doctor about his or her political views. I wanted to know, because I knew that if they were conservative and Christian, I knew the type of service that I was going to receive. If they were all the way on the left, I knew the type of service that I'm going to receive. So I don't shy about it any longer, because look, I'm putting my life in their hands. I want to know who I'm dealing with. Am I wrong for doing that? What do y'all think? What do y'all think? Do you think that's a legit thing to do? I think that it is. We need to know. It's the same thing when you take your kids to school. What kind of teacher are you dropping your kids off with that they're going to be there with them between 4 and 6 and 8 hours of the day, 5 days a week? Don't you think you should know the teacher, what the type of teacher? Because if the teacher is promoting this, what happens when a dramatic thing happens? And now, of course, you have those on the left trying to act like saying anything about Charlie Kirk is okay if you want to say nasty things about Charlie Kirk. I mean, technically, you have 100% free speech. You have free speech. Don't you know I could come on here right now and I could just say the most despicable things ever. I could start cursing. I could start calling people to do certain things. You see how I did that? I can't say, I'm not going to say it out loud because they try to take it, right? They could say, I could say all of these hateful, crazy stuff. But guess what follows with that? Consequences. Rightfully so. There's this thing called consequences. So that's the reason why I just don't say the most, and I don't have a need to say it. But when you have Jimmy Kimmel, who's pretty much has always hated President Trump, and my personal opinion about him, he hates America because, look, even though Joe Biden was in the White House for the last 4 years before Trump came back, and thank God President Trump came back, I never wish ill will on Joe Biden. I don't even recall anybody wishing ill will on Joe Biden. We did say that they were, personally like abusing Joe Biden. I thought they were, because Joe Biden was an elderly man and he should have been retired a long time ago, but they used him. I was calling it elderly abuse. That's what I was calling it. No one wished ill will on them. Do we want them to go away, go retire? Sure. Go retire peacefully. Go live the rest of your life. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. But the left, oh my goodness. Now they're trying to say what Jimmy Kimmel was saying about Charlie Kirk. It's just free speech. He didn't say anything wrong. And President Trump is taking away free speech. No, he's not. You can say whatever it is you want to say. Now, the consequences that come along with that, let me give you another example of consequences before I play this for you. Another example of consequences is that I could tell you right now all of this hateful stuff, and then I turn around and ask you to go to my website, uniteamericafirst.com, like what I have right here, which you see at the bottom, uniteamericafirst.com, and get one of my t-shirts to support me. Right after, and then I go and say all of these hateful things. The consequences of that is that now you're not going to go to my website, uniteamericafirst.com, and now you're not going to support me because of all the hateful stuff I said. Do you think that any liberals would support me at all? No, because they don't like the things that I'm saying. I've only asked Christians to help me. That's all that I've ever done, is to ask Christians. Liberals, they want to silence me. And I've even received messages that these liberals want to silence. They said you should be silenced like Charlie Kirk. I have screenshots. I'm not going to show them here. I'm going to show them on my show that I'm going to do on Culture Wars at 2:00 East Coast time. Because the screenshots, if I show the screenshots here that they said on Facebook, they would take the video down. Now, they can say it all day about me. I just can't share with you what they said. If you want to see these screenshots, some people think, oh, you don't get any, Will Johnson. Yeah, I got the receipts. But listen to this.
What Kimmel did is inexplicable to me. And maybe he'll come on your show and explain it to you, or my show, the No Spin News. He had to know on Monday in his dialogue how raw the country was over this assassination of Charlie Kirk. He had to know that. And to use his monologue, which is usually comedic, to mislead the entire country by implying that MAGA Trump supporters were really behind the murder. To do that, I'm saying you have a battery of writers, you have a producer on your program. Did no one red flag you on this? Did no one say anything about this? This isn't about censorship, all right? This is about responsibility. And as you pointed out correctly, every corporation has a responsibility to make sure the product it is selling is an honest product. And by saying that MAGA might have been responsible for murder, not only is that defamatory, but it's outrageous.
It really is. He's saying that we are the cause for what happened to Charlie Kirk because Charlie Kirk told the truth. You have radical liberals right now that's saying that Charlie Kirk, his work should not continue. They were saying because all he's going to do is end up radicalizing more people. This is what they're saying. They said that people like, they didn't say me by name, but they're saying people like Will Johnson that is putting it on the line. Me speaking up for all of this time, for years, is me putting it on the line. I mean, they've hurt me financially. They really have. Because, and I look, people who watch me for years, you know that I don't call for violence. I don't even curse. And not to say that I haven't cursed in the past, and if I ever say a curse word, I feel bad about it. The last time I can remember saying a curse word, I was in Georgia when they were trying to put President Trump in jail, because there was this dude I was trying to get an interview, and this dude came over and pushed me, and I ended up told him get out my, you know how they built this dam, on the river, I called him that. I said, get out my, my darn way. I said, I have a problem cursing. I don't curse, but I do find it easy just to tell the truth, even when I don't like the truth. It's easy. Let me give you an example. Joe Biden was in the White House the past 4 years. I don't like it, but it was true. You understand? I don't like it. I'm not going to ignore it. He was sitting behind that tiny desk. It's true. I don't like it. You understand? I find it more beneficial for me just to tell the truth to people. It's more beneficial for me to tell the truth. But apparently you get in trouble today for telling the truth. And the Democrats, they don't have any issues on doing that. So Jimmy Kimmel losing his job for all the hateful stuff that he was saying, I'm not sure that I have a problem with it. I really don't. Because it makes them a bunch of hypocrites. And actually on my show, Culture Wars, there's a video of Jimmy Kimmel actually celebrating what happened to Tucker Carlson. Y'all remember Tucker Carlson? You remember him? Tucker Carlson's kind of went off a little deep end when it comes to Israel, but that's a whole nother story. I liked Tucker Carlson when he was on Fox News. They hated Tucker Carlson when he was on Fox News. They've been pushing to get Tucker Carlson fired from Fox News for years. I remember Joy Reid, she kept calling them Tuckums when she was on MSDNC. She kept calling him that. They wanted Tucker fired every single day. They had something to say about Tucker because he was a strong advocate for President Trump. They wanted him fired. They could not stand Tucker Carlson. They really still can't, be honest with you, but they really couldn't stand him. And even Jimmy Kimmel, when Tucker got fired, he was saying, well, maybe he shouldn't have been saying all of this XYZ that he was saying. Maybe he shouldn't have been saying it. And now, bam, it happens to him. And I bet you right now, without even hearing or seeing any videos from him, I guarantee, I'm pretty sure that he's like, do you know who I am? You can't do this to me. How dare you do this to me? This is Trump's fault. This is Trump's fault. I'm just a comedian. And see, the radical left, they're saying that doing this to Jimmy Kimmel is like doing this to an institution. What? If he's just a comedian, where's the institution at? And now they're also saying that if President Trump is doing this to comedians, when again, President Trump has not done this to anybody, they're saying that next he's going to be going after news organizations, news reporters. What was Tucker? What was OAN? Or what is OAN? They're still around, but man, one news organization that they hit so hard was OAN, One American News. The radical left hit them like no tomorrow, removing them. They got them removed from Dish Network. They were getting removed from everywhere because OAN was rising up. I mean, they were coming up really fast and they had to shut them down. So they don't have any room to talk. No room to talk. So what do? They say what President Trump is doing is trying to be an authoritarian. They're saying that he's doing it out of the playbook. Listen.
This is completely playbook, what is happening. And scholars of authoritarianism have been warning about this for years.
Right. They've been warning about it for years. when the left has actually been the one implementing it. They're the ones been doing all of it. Conservatives not trying to look. No one is trying to silence Colbert. No one's trying to silence him. No one's trying to silence Jimmy Kimmel. No one's trying to silence them. They can do the same thing I'm doing. They can get on the digital platform, social media, and they can do their own. Don Sourpuss Lemon, he was on the Communist News Network. He could come out and say, oh my goodness, President Trump did this to me. President Trump did this to me. So now he walks around and try to talk to people. When people calling them idiots, he did the digital thing too. They still have a voice. They still have their First Amendment rights. The only people trying to cancel people's voices, don't want people to be heard, is the left. Who's authoritarian here?
Every authoritarian ever waits for an atrocity to happen, a terrorist attack, and they have planned how they're going to use it. They're going to use it to target the political opposition. Stephen Miller is now talking about Democrats the way he talks about immigrants. So this is just what we expected. It's exactly what happens in any authority. It's what you would do if you were scripting this. You would wait for some atrocity to happen that shocks the nation, and then you would blame it on the political opposition and use the levers of the state to target the political opposition. This is the next phase. This is the U.S. citizen phase, the targeting of U.S. citizens.
Does any of this sound familiar to anybody? Does anything what he just said sound familiar to anybody? No one's been targeted in this country until now, right? That's what he's saying. No one's been targeted. Like, we, the left, we don't target anybody. They didn't target Tucker Carlson. They didn't target a social media platform like Parler. They didn't target conservatives on the social media platforms all over. They didn't target those Christians going to Catholic, going to abortion clinics. They didn't target them. They didn't target parents showing up to school board meetings. They didn't target any of them, right? None of that took place. None of that took place. They didn't target anybody. Right? None of that took place. It's only now that it's happening. And they're still not being targeted. If Jimmy Kimmel would have if he would have kept his mouth shut about Charlie Kirk and saying just despicable things about Charlie Kirk, we wouldn't even be talking about him right now. But he has the freedom to say what he wants to say because freedom of speech is there. There's consequences. See, I can't go into a movie theater and scream fire. There's consequences of me doing that. Now, technically, I have the freedom to do it. No one's going to stop me. No one's going to put tape on my mouth if I go in a movie theater. I have the freedom to do it, but there's consequences that's going to follow. It's the same thing everywhere else. No one was celebrating George Floyd. What happened to him? No one was celebrating that. No one was celebrating when Dianne Feinstein left. Did y'all see anybody celebrating Dianne Feinstein being gone? Now, she was in the Senate forever. And then she wasn't in the Senate. Then all of a sudden, she moved on. And it was like, everybody forgot about Dianne Feinstein. And people were asking, well, how is she voting? But no one celebrated it. No matter how nasty of a person she may have been, no one was celebrating it. No one was. But they're celebrating what happened to Charlie Kirk, and that's just right down despicable.
What should the American people expect next? There's an election coming up in 2026. Do we have it, or is it already rigged?
Wow.
Go ahead.
Wow. See, wow.
Well, I would expect the media to be targeted. MSNBC is an opposition, will be considered an opposition media.
Oh, really? Really? So MSDNC is gonna be targeted? Really? Like OAN was? Really? And someone put in the comments OANN. OAN. Everyone knows what I'm talking about. One American News. They weren't targeted? Are you kidding me? Fox News has been targeted, but Fox News got really big, deep pockets. Right? Any conservative media outlet has been targeted, especially on social media. The FBI, when they were trying to cover up the laptop, Hunter Biden, the FBI went to social media and they were taking down content from news stations, news networks, conservative media outlets. They were taking information down. Nope, you got to take it down. It's Russia, Russia, Russia. It's disinformation. And come to find out, it was not disinformation. I wonder, did those conservative media outlets sue the government for that? Because that was completely wrong, especially when the FBI did it.
So you link the group you're targeting with crime. So you linked immigrants with crime. Then you create a special police force. In this case, ICE.
They didn't create a special police force. What is he talking about? You know how long ICE has been around? How long has ICE been around? Anyone know the answer off that really quick? How long has ICE been around? I think it came after Ronald Reagan, right? Did it come after Ronald Reagan or before Ronald Reagan? There's not a new police force. They just don't like the fact that ICE is finally doing their jobs, what they're designated to do.
Sort of new tons of money into ICE to target them. Then you've got to move to political opponents next, the political opposition.
I wonder, as a student of fascism, of history,
oh my goodness,
what that would teach us about the role that those people are poised to play, that they must play in this moment.
History is watching right now. History is watching the governors of the states. History is watching everyone that is acting now, journalists who are under fire, to see who's going to bend the knee. Journalists reporting the truth, unafraid of the consequences of reporting the truth. That's what we need at this time. And those who fail at that will be judged by history.
Wow. And I just looked it up really quick. I went to AI and I grokked it basically. And how long has ICE been here? It says, as of September 18th, 2025, today, ICE has been around for 22 years and 6 months. 22 years and 6 months. They didn't just create ICE. You see what they did? And no one corrected them. Said, wait a minute, hold up, wait a minute. I don't think ICE was just created. It's been around for 22 years and 6 months. But again, they put out this rhetoric, getting people to believe this nonsense. Hey, before I move on, I want to talk about this really quick. I want to say thank you to Diana. I'm going to cover up the address here. Thank you, Diana, for the gift. Thank you so much for the blessings. I really do appreciate you. She says her and her son watches my show, and she's from Memphis, Tennessee, and she wrote me a nice little letter here. Her and her son both watch me for the show, and she sent me some blessings to help me out with my old equipment here in my studio. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. You are a blessing. I just want to say that really quick. And, I didn't even go to YouTube because I try to acknowledge people when they bless me with the Rumble rants on Rumble, or if you do the super chats on YouTube. I want to acknowledge, I just want to acknowledge you and say thank you publicly. There's nothing wrong with that, right? I actually had one person send me a message saying, Will, you shouldn't tell people publicly that they support you. I mean, you can see it, especially like if you're on YouTube, you can see the super chat pop up on the screen. It's right there for the world to see. And they got upset with me for saying thank you. I really don't understand that. Maybe y'all can help me out, right? Maybe y'all can help me out because I guess I'm not supposed to say thank you when someone blesses me. But anyways, so I just played MSDNC for you about what they were saying about the whole Kimball issue and how they're upset because trying to say that, President Trump is taking away the rights of people. Well, here it is on the Communist News Network. Listen what they had to say.
Breaking news, the White House now has wasted no time in celebrating ABC pulling Jimmy Kimmel's late night show off the air indefinitely.
Now, they were all celebrating when Tuckums That's how Unjoyful Reed used to be on MSDNC was saying it. They were rejoicing. Oh yeah, we got rid of Tucker. They got rid of Tucker. They were so excited about that. They were rejoicing. Now, he just lost his job. That's all that he did. He lost his job. These nut jobs, these evil people, they were celebrating someone losing their life. Which one is worse? Celebrating someone losing their job or somebody celebrating they losing their life? Which one's worse? Which one's worse? It's a no-brainer. Listen to this.
Breaking news, the White House now has wasted no time in celebrating ABC pulling Jimmy Kimmel's late night show off the air indefinitely. Its rapid response account on Truth Social posting, and I quote, "They're doing their viewers a favor. Jimmy is a sick freak." That's from the White House rapid response team. Ryan Goodman is our Outfront legal analyst. He's now with me. Andrew Yang and David Frum are also still here. So, Ryan, when you now have had a few minutes here to digest this, to think about the implications, to think about what can be done, what happens here?
So ABC News has a very strong legal claim if they were to try to find some way to sue. This is a clear First Amendment violation. It's interesting to note that just last year, the Supreme Court decided a case in which the attorney generals of Missouri and Louisiana, very conservative attorney generals, tried to bring to the Supreme Court the idea that the Biden White House was pressuring social media companies as to what content they could produce in terms of like the White House saying, can you please stop doing disinformation or misinformation around COVID?
Remember, was he talking about Joe Biden? Because all that was taking place with Joe Biden. Them going to social media companies and trying to tell people what they can and can't say.
And the key for them was that they had to prove government coercion, and they couldn't because there was no statement really coming out of the Biden White House saying, if you don't do it, we'll do X.
What? What about all the Twitter docs? Did he forget about the Twitter docs? Wait a minute. He's expecting all of us not to remember the Twitter docs. That's what that's about. When Elon Musk purchased Twitter and changed it to X, they released the communications between the FBI. That's how we know the FBI was all in the mix on this, trying to shut down certain conversations. No one's calling him out.
This is a clear statement of coercion. So the law would look at
You're
this
referring
very
to Brendan Carr
unfavorably.
saying easy way or the hard way.
Absolutely. That's one of the most coercive statements possible. It would be a golden piece of evidence for plaintiffs that would want to bring that kind of a case. I would think they would lose 7-2 or 9-0, the Trump administration, Brendan Carr, before the U.S. Supreme Court. It's just such an obvious violation of the First Amendment. And just to think about it, I mean, that's very conservative attorney generals bringing that case before the Supreme Court. They didn't have that kind of evidence. And we're talking about an atmosphere in which the FCC is supposed to be independent of the president. But just within the last 24 hours, it's notable that President Trump said to ABC's Jonathan Karl, quote, "I'd probably go after people like you. Maybe I'll come after ABC." That seems like a concerted campaign in which Mr. Carr is in lockstep with the president.
Yeah, right. And that comment was obviously specifically about ABC. So, David, from when you see the response from the White House, right? Do they say, Jimmy, I don't have the quote in front of me right this very second, but I believe everyone, right? It said Jimmy's a sick freak, doing viewers a favor or something.
I mean, you can have an opinion about people. They can have their opinions about Charlie Kirk. But when you start celebrating someone losing their life, then it becomes a different story. I mean, you're monsters. That has nothing to do with free speech. That has something to do with you being a monster. The company, Disney, ABC, decided to no, we're not going to push this. We're not going to allow this. And you know what it is? They're catching on that whole woke go broke thing, right? They're tired of it. They're tired of losing viewers. They're tired of losing money. At the end of the day, these woke companies, they're still capitalist companies because guess what? They want to make money. At the end of the day, no matter what, they want to make money. We all need to make money. In this world that we live in, I don't like it, but we all have to make money. I mean, that's just the way it is. But the Democrats think, oh, well, we can bring socialism in. That'll fix all of it. Then, well, who's going to pay for it? If no one is working, who's going to pay for it? The government can't pay for it, because if the people aren't working and paying into the stinking government, the government doesn't have any money to pay for anything. Then they get to regulate, well, because of you don't get X, Y, Z. And it comes down to a lot of control, too.
Something along that. There it is. They're doing their viewers a favor. Jimmy's a sick freak. That comes from.
Man, she likes that comment, doesn't she? I mean, that's the second time she brought it up within 4 minutes.
The White House, David, from the White House of the United States of
Let's
America.
make sure we let everyone. This is from the White House. This is from the White House. The rapid response. This is from the White House, right?
A rapid response team. Brendan Carr's response to our Brian Stelter when he asked him about all of this was to send a meme of the Office TV show where everybody's celebrating.
It's one thing if you're celebrating someone losing a job versus someone celebrating and they lost their life. I mean, why is that difficult to understand? Why is that difficult?
So that's the manner in which this is being handled.
We don't have to speculate about what comes next, because President Trump and his...
Okay, tell us what's going to come next, because what he's getting ready to do is speculation. This is what he's doing. He's 100% speculating, but he says we don't have to speculate. But this is what he's doing.
Televised speech after the assassination of Charlie Kirk, and his aide, Stephen Miller, have already told us what is coming next. And they previewed it back in April. What is coming next is a crackdown on Democratic Party fundraising.
This has already been happening. USAID, other government entities that's been funneling money, Planned Parenthood, been funding all this money into the Democrat Party. There's already been a crackdown on it. What he's referring to, what I believe he's referring to, is what happened here recently with Trans Tifa, because they're looking in that money too. All of this violence that we've been seeing across the country, someone's been paying for it. These bricks just don't magically appear.
That President Trump said we are going to go after those who raise funds for causes we don't like. Stephen Miller said that even more emphatically.
It's not just about causes we don't like. It's about causes that's been causing violence across the country. You notice how they conveniently leave that detail out? They always do.
In April of this past year, Donald Trump, at his personal command, ordered his Department of Justice, an astonishing thing for a president to do, to investigate the Democratic Party's small dollar donation platform at ActBlue. The attack on Democratic Party fundraising is coming next. The suppression of Democratic Party speech is coming next. Look, Donald Trump has maliciously attacked the standards of living of ordinary Americans with his tariffs. He's enormously corrupt. He's taking billions of dollars in meme coins and other kind of crypto coins. He cannot afford a free and fair election in 2026. And what he thinks about every moment of the day is, how do I head off a free and fair election in 2026? And what is happening now is part of a hastily developed strategy to seize this opportunity created by this terrible tragedy, afflicting a family, afflicting many people who admired him, to make political competition in the United States unfree and unfair.
And it is clear, Andrew Yang, that from what Ryan just laid out, that, Trump said what he said about ABC the other day. Brendan Carr said what he said. Their responses are to celebrate. But Trump also actually spoke out about Jimmy Kimmel. After Colbert show went away, he chose to speak about Kimmel. He said this.
Kimmel has no talent. They're next. They're going to be going. I hear they're going to be going.
No, he hears. President Trump doesn't have any authority. He doesn't have any authority to tell them to fire anybody. He doesn't. Right? It's a private company, and they can hire and fire whomever they choose, whomever they please.
They're next. Again, there's no ambiguity.
I've always seen Trump as an accelerant to the disintegration of various institutions, and Jimmy Kimmel's an institution.
Jimmy Kimmel's an institution? Really? I thought he was just a comedian. I didn't know if you were a comedian. Maybe y'all let me know in the chat. I have the chats over here on the side of me. Y'all let me know in the chat. Is being a comedian an institution? If that's the case, can I say my show, The Will Johnson Show, is a institution? Can I say Will Johnson's an institution? Can I say that to them? I mean, what does that even mean? What does that even mean? He's saying President Trump is going after organizations, going after institutions to shut them down because they said something completely despicable, which they don't want to acknowledge that. They don't have a problem with Jimmy Kimmel saying the nasty stuff that he said. But they had a problem with people like me telling the truth.
Everything kind of exists in rivalry with Trump, particularly if it commands a big audience and attention. And unfortunately, he has had it out for Jimmy. It's a sad day that we've gotten to this juncture, but unfortunately, I agree with David that in many ways this is predictable.
Well, and I think that's the sad thing. In a sense, I guess all of you would say it's predictable, and yet somehow it is stunning. And it is at the same moment, something shocking, even though perhaps shocking but not surprising. All of you, thank you very much.
And the other guy goes, let me play the rest of this, what he says, because he's talking about, you need to be shocked. You need to be shocked. Watch.
You must never lose your ability to be shocked. You must never lose your ability to be shocked.
Here it comes. Here it comes.
Shocked. That's a resource for dictators when we lose our ability to be shocked.
Right there. They're still saying the same rhetoric. President Trump is trying to be a dictator. They're still saying President Trump is trying to be a Hitler figure. They're still saying all of this stuff in hopes that someone will react to it. When you look at it, people in general, across the board really, people in general can be manipulated on certain scales, certain level. People can be manipulated. When it comes to the left, it's extremely easy to manipulate people on the left. Because the reason why I say that is my opinion, okay? I'm going to say it's my opinion. The reason why I say that is because you can tell them a man in a dress is a woman and they'll believe it. How are they not being manipulated? Y'all help me out then. If you can convince people to believe a blatant lie like that, you can get them to believe anything. I mean, anything. And some liberals go, no one believes that. No one's saying that. Really? I mean, they were actually in California, they were actually finding people, trying to put people in jail for not going along with that insanity in California. Nurses, if you had a man come in there and you didn't refer to him by the calling him a woman, they would give him $1,000 fine, and then they would want to give him jail time as well. Let me talk about this really quick. I meant to put this up on the screen, and I do apologize for not putting it up on the screen, but y'all can see it right here. This is a truth post from our great president, Donald J. Trump. I did a short live just on YouTube last night, and I did some shorts about this very thing. And this is what it says for those of you that missed it. It says, I am pleased to inform our many USA patriots that I am designating Antifa, a sick, dangerous, radical left disaster, as a major terrorist organization. President Trump, this was yesterday. I will also, and this is, you know how the video I just shared with you, how they said that President Trump is going after the money, he's following the money. Listen to this part here. President Trump says, and I quote, I will also be strongly recommending that those funding Antifa will be thoroughly investigated in accordance with the highest legal standards and practices. Thank you for your attention in this matter. It's about to be on. It's about to be on. I'm happy that he did this finally. Because I couldn't understand it why in the first term, why it didn't happen with all the attacks that they were doing to everybody. And it just kept going on and on and on. On and on and on. Like it would just never stop. Never ending. All right, everybody. So I'm at the end here. Look, my show, 1 hour, just over 1 hour from right now on my show, Culture Wars. If you go to my website, which you see my website, and I'm going to put it down here in the bottom of it, UniteAmericaFirst.com, you can see right there, Culture Wars. I'm going to show you some screenshots of what these people are calling me to have the same episode or end up with the same results as Charlie Kirk. Now, again, I told you I can't show those videos here. I can't show you those screenshots here because they would take my video down if I were to show them here. It's pretty despicable. I mean, it's right down disgusting. I shared it with one young lady that I know. I've known her for some time now. Her name is Sherry. And she just replied back. She said, it's just disgusting. I mean, it really is. And so I'm going to share that. And I'm going to share some other stuff that is just, this thing is real. We're dealing with evilness. We really are. We're dealing with evilness 100%. And for those of you that want to help me, you can go right here to donate on my website, uniteamericanfirst.com. Click on donate there. And you can see there's different options if you want to support me monthly. Some people do. Thank you so much. And God bless you. Or if you just want to do like some of the other ones, the quick ones right there. People do this every now and then. And my physical address, like I told you, Diana sent me the blessing earlier. Right there, there's my physical address because some people don't want to do the digital thing. I completely get it. Completely get it. And for those of you that want to still help me, I'm just halfway there. I'm just over halfway there on meeting my goal when it comes to the Give, Send, Go. But here it is, the givesendgo.com/studio. If God puts it on your heart, like if you want to go on my website or go to Give, Send, Go, whichever one, please consider helping me out. Please consider helping me out. Facebook has completely taken away my, even on Instagram, they won't even allow me. Instagram at one point had nothing to do with Facebook, but because it's still Meta, they're preventing people from supporting me. It's pretty disgusting, actually, because I haven't done anything wrong, but told the truth. They're doing to me what they did to Charlie Kirk financially. You understand? That's what they're trying to do. But anyways, givesendgo.com/studio. If God puts it on your heart to help me out, only if God puts it on your heart, anything helps. You know, one lady, Jennifer, which y'all can see right there. I don't know how well you can see it. She sent me $10. Thank you so much for the huge blessing. Thank you so much. And there's other people. Ann, she's done $50, and she's done some other ones. So thank you so much. Now I think this Give, Send, Go is gonna end pretty soon anyway. So please, if nothing else, go there and click the prayer button. Send me a prayer. You know, click on the prayer. Do that. If nothing else, and share it. All right, everybody, that's it for me. 1 hour from right now, Culture Wars. You're not going to want to miss it. I'm going to show you the screenshots of what these people are saying about me. It's pretty wild. This thing is real, and we are truly in a spiritual battle. And I think things are about to get really, really crazy. A lot crazier than what they are right now. All right, everybody, see you in the Culture Wars. Just go to my website, uniteamericanfirst.com, and you'll see it right there on the page. Culture Wars. God bless.